I want to go across now. We've shown you what happened in Moscow. What was the reaction in Ukraine, the country that 75 days ago was invaded by Russia, a country in which the combat is still being described as President Putin as a special operation, not a full-scale war. Lots of speculation about what President Putin would say today. Let's find out firsthand from inside Ukraine what the reaction has been like. India Today's Rajesh Pawar and Abhishek Bhalla join us live from Kyiv, and they've been traveling in other parts of Ukraine as well. Rajesh, to you first. What is the sense you're getting? Obviously, the leadership in Ukraine, the people would have been tuning in to see what, Vladimir Putin would have said. He's a man that the Ukrainians describe as a tyrant, a madman. There has been a lot of speculation. He, of course, on expected lines, defended the war in Ukraine, even though they're not even calling it a war just yet. But what has the general reaction been to this Victory Day speech and parade, Rajesh?
Look, Shiv, let me tell you that moment the parade finished in Moscow, within seconds of that, air raid siren in Kyiv went off. We had air raid siren continuously for 4 minutes, within minutes of parade finishing in Moscow. These two things may not be related, but this was the first air raid siren we had in last 2 to 3 days. Now about people watching it here, let me tell you there's a complete blackout on any kind of Russian media outlet, any kind of information which can percolate from Russia into Ukraine. There's a total complete blackout on that. But having said that, people in the government here, policymakers in Ukraine are watching every word Mr. Putin is saying, and they were expecting some kind of escalation, some kind of declaration of war against Ukraine in today's speech, which did not happen. See, there is a calm in city like Kyiv here and in the areas around it, but it is a calm which can be shattered any moment, because Russia has been continuously targeting railway infrastructure all over Ukraine now, because they are desperate to stop this the military assistance which is coming from UK, US and from other NATO countries into Ukraine, and they want to stop it at any cost from reaching it to front lines in east of Ukraine, where the Russians and Ukrainians are face to face. So here people are watching Mr. Putin's word with caution, and they are expecting some kind of escalation also in air raids in the west and center of Ukraine, including in cities like Lviv. Shiv.
Abhishek, what is the sense that you've been getting? You've traveled to Odessa, you were in Donbas recently, which is already under Russian control now. There has been a lot of speculation about whether Russia has met its objectives, whether it has course corrected. There was an expectation that, Putin might recraft or reshape, what Russia's, victory really looks like in Ukraine. That didn't quite happen. So that suspense is still there over what the next few steps in this war are going to look like.
Shiv, it's very clear that whatever was Russia's military objective, it hasn't gone as per plan. Nobody expected this war to have entered the third month. And first, I'll just give you a sense of what's happening in Kyiv. It was Victory Day in Russia, but here in Kyiv, May 8th is, observed as Remembrance Day. It was a very somber kind of an observance, and these hedgehogs that you see were on the street a few days back. But things are getting back to normal, at least in the capital. These hedgehogs have been removed and they are on the footpath. There is, some traffic on the street, some restaurants are opening. So some kind of normalcy, but there is still a lot of apprehension. Just this morning there was air raid sirens that could be heard. So that's one part of it. Ukraine is believing while the fighting might be restricted to some part of Ukraine, which is the eastern and the southern part, but military airstrikes can take place in other parts of the country. That's the fear. That's number one. Number two is, Shiv, that the fact is that Russia thought that at least by now they would have had the entire Donbas region. I traveled on the Ukrainian side of the Donbas region. Ukrainian forces continue to hold on to some of the key locations, and they are making sure that the supply lines from Kharkiv are open to the Donbas region. And that's the reason why they can hold on to their positions. And they are also now using an offensive posture if and when required. And that's the reason why it seems that this war is going to be a long one, and it could be a sort of a permanent conflict, at least on the eastern and parts of the southern side.